Hello, Culture Matters podcast. We are pushing through 30 days of thought, to read, to think, write, to develop, listen to hear what is unsaid, and speak to let go. If you have a copy of 30 Days of Thought, look at this is one of mine, tattered, beaten up. Got the Lightspeed brand on there in the front. Right there, branded like a cow. Can't see it on YouTube. There's just a burn mark. Here's a quote. We're on page 30 and 31. I've written my thoughts down. Now I'm going to read our excerpt here. Here's a quote. We own our truths, but if we do not write them down, they will be lost. Write it down. Without it written down, it may be lost forever. Our truth we hold unto ourselves, along with our inner demons and outer callings. They beckon us. They beckon to be set free and be able to roam the earth we all share. The thoughts we cycle throughout the canyons of our mind scream loudly and clearly our message of truth or call to reason. We own our truths, but if we do not write them down, they will be lost. It is our duty and our right to make our truths resonate with our fellow men. The obligation is presented at our birth to share, and only we may decide upon this action, and it begins by writing it down. Upon transcription, our soul quivers, and every essence of our being gasps with reluctance and exhales in relief. It is in our human nature to hold the demons inside. We hold on for dear life because the fear of failure and rejection protects us from finding out our true potential's fate. Would our brethren be in awe or sigh in disgrace? What could be our outcome if the latter held true? These false evidences appearing as real as the pen we hold through our thought creations. And as the pen's ink fades into our parchment, we realize our fate was made prior to our beginning. As we all arrive at the same destination in the first place, it must become our duty to prevent our questions from being unanswered. It will only plague us. What if I were heard? Who may I have touched? Am I accepted? At our life's moment, last breath, all we wanted was always so clear, and we will be content if we write. And we will be content if we write. I think I have something to say. If I didn't think it, I wouldn't say it. And writing helps me say it. I think you have something to say too, because you're a person. You have thoughts. You have thoughts on the thoughts that you've consumed, not just in 30 days of thought, but in your life. Now, there's journaling as a therapeutic, self-development, very personal experience. There's also what you know that you want to share, you think could be valuable for others. Like maybe you want to write a nonfiction book about a topic, about around a skill that you've developed over time. Maybe you want to write on a topic as accountability to learn more about a topic. Maybe you're in college and you're writing a dissertation to be accepted so that you can go to the next level in your journey as whatever designation you're seeking to have, that the culture says with this designation you have the right to ... Writing is thinking, Peterson said that. Talks about cutting away the dead wood, helps us clarify our thought, helps us. There's something going on, like we're becoming people when we write. We're becoming closer to each other. Without it written down, it may be lost forever. That's the opening sentence. There's Karl Popper, one of my favorite thinkers, philosopher of science, has some theorem on like world A, world B, world C, something like, or world one, world two, world three. He had alluded in one of his essays in one of the books I was reading that really took me back. So wow, I've never thought of it like that. It'd be a different if we got rid of all of the technology that we have today, all the things we have today, but we had the books, we'd get there faster than if we got rid of the technology and didn't have the books. Things that are written down speed up the learning curve, the hard lessons, the lessons learned the hard way. If only that was written down, if only I knew the formula, if only we had the ingredients for that recipe. You think of in the absence of the ingredients, we can't make that exact recipe that someone else is profiting off of. Why? Because of the overwhelming complexity of this world. There's so many, there's only a finite amount of time, and there's an infinite amount of complexity and ways to fail and ways to try. Writing changes us. It breaks us down, and it helps us rebuild anew. Writing helps us think about ourselves and about the world and about what we know, about what we know we don't know, and helps us open up our imagination and our self-awareness around what we don't know, that we don't know, which influences what we don't know, and helps us become sharper with what we believe we know very well. There's a lot of relativity with knowing. We don't live this life alone. We live with other people. And so there's going to be a lot of friction with what we know, what we think we know, what we know we don't know, what we don't know we don't know. And if I think I know something at a high level and I'm interacting with someone else that feels the same about that same something, we're going to have to contend with one another to see, what do I know that they don't know, or what do they know that I don't know, or do we really know as much as we think we know? I mean, that probably sounds a little nuts. It sounds a little nuts. Re-listen to that. I'm pretty sure that I'm making sense. If I write this down and I was just reading it word for word, it'd be a bit different of an experience than ad-libbing, thinking out loud. Thinking out loud is less clear. There's an excitement to it. There's a novelty to it, because where am I going to go with this thought? I'm excited about it. It's therapeutic in a sense, because it's as if, it feels good to think, feels good to think through, I get new certainties where there was once uncertainty. In the face of uncertainty, there's anxiety. At the other side of anxiety, there's pride, having felt good about how I got to the other side of that unknown. I think writing helps the process of life as an experience of having some level of certainty, a degree of uncertainty, and the willingness or the sheer circumstance of being in conflict with things out of our control, the journey, right? It's not just the destination, it's the journey. Here's an underlined sentence. It is our duty and our right to make our truths resonate with our fellow men. I'm thought, even if I'm not publishing a book for you to read, writing what I thought of my day, writing what I think about a subject at hand, is going to have a constructive impact on me. I believe that, and I believe it will on you as well. That's why my hope is that 30 days of thought becomes a process of discovery, of reflection, of strength building. When I used to speak constantly, or at least constantly in relation to the lack of speaking as of this recording, always before a talk, if I wrote down bullets of what I was going to say, or maybe an excerpt, an essay, or some kind of, if I just wrote out what I wanted to say, go into that talk, having not looked at that paper again, lighter, clearer, more certain, more confident, more engaged, present. It was less weight. It felt more natural. The obligation is presented at our birth to share, and only we may decide upon this action. And it begins by writing it down. Upon transcription, our soul quivers, and every essence of our being gasps with reluctance and exhales in relief. There's reluctance in this process of 30 days of thought. It's not just reading it out loud to you or to myself. It's the reluctance to write down my thoughts. It takes energy. I think my brain seeks to conserve energy, especially under pressure. I'm recording this under pressure. Pressure of the amount of podcasts to record as interviews, conversations, as monologues, all the other responsibilities that come with culture matters, our client partners, all the other interpersonal responsibilities of being a person, not just a business person, family, friends. It's easy to procrastinate when I'm entitled enough to get away with the consequences. Right? Who cares if I'm doing this process or not? Who really cares? I've already done the process. Why do it again? Why do it again? Why do this? Why write? Why read? Why speak about this? Why? Those voices creep in to undermine growth. So there's a reluctance, and it exhales in relief. And every essence of our being gasps with reluctance and exhales in relief. Always feel better after writing. Always feel better after writing. Feel better after talking about this with you. I challenge you to do along with me. It is in our human nature to hold the demon inside. Writing for me helps turn resentment into meaning. There's meaning in the outcome of the labor. There's utility, there's pride around something that is real, something significant to me. Oh, I never thought of it like that. Where did that come from? I like how I said that. I think that. I can see that being true or useful. I wrote this down at the bottom. We matter. Our life matters. It means something. Yeah, so that last sentence, at one's life's moment, last breath, all we wanted was always so clear, and we will be content if we write. People write books. We all we write books. We write these autobiographies. We write these books. I see a lot of people. I've never met anyone that didn't want to write a book. It's been said we all have a book in us. I met a lot of people in transition. Maybe they've invested their whole life in a career. And now it's time for them to write their book. Having something written down that's your own. It's a legacy. That's why I've urged people not to pursue the ghost written word, the irony of I've written a book, but someone else wrote it. There may be a time and a place for another to write your story, but what about your story? What could happen to you writing your story? What could happen to you writing things down? Your great, 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 whatever could read it, and they could have a lighthouse for who to be, for what to think, or another way to look at things. My biological mother, Linda, wrote me letters that I've discovered in my mid-20s. I read one of them, I believe, on one of the podcasts with Ben Newman for the first time. Since then, or it wasn't shortly after that I decided in 2023 to write letters to people in my life. My hope is that if this is listened to in 2028, that's something I'm still doing. It's impacted me deeply to tell people what I think about them, to tell people what I think, to write from the heart, to write in the moment. It's therapeutic. And 30 Days of Thought is, there's a biography within it that'll show you where I was and what I was struggling with and where I was feeling strong. And we can all go through it constantly, me included, because I wrote it down. Imagine rereading your thoughts after 30 Days of Thought, after many rotations of 30 Days of Thought. You can go through that freshly at least 3 times with the 90 plus excerpts in 30 Days of Thought. You could do it 3 times in a row, do it for 30 days and then take 30 days off and then do it again and then do it again and then take it off, which means there's at least 6 months in that rotation. Or you could do it for 30 days, take 60 days off and do it again and have it for a year. Or you could do it over 3 years. Or you could do it any way you want. You could do it 30 days for 12 months straight. Just keep filtering and you could do 30 Days of Thought and then do your next 30 Days of Thought on only what you wrote, which was the outcome of what you had read, and then do it again based on what you wrote the second time from the, I mean, right? You read 30 Days of Thought, you do it the first time with 30 Days of Thought, you write through your thoughts each day, and you film your video, share it. After 30 days, you go back and you only read the thoughts of the thoughts. And you write your thoughts of the thoughts. You write your new thoughts on your old thoughts of the 30 Days of Thought. How about that? There's so many ways to skin this cat. What's the point? I'm growing from it, and I wrote these original 30 Days of Thought. What could be our outcome if the latter held true? The latter was, sire disgrace. Yeah, this sentence. Would our brethren be in awe or sigh with disgrace? So it's like, if I write a book and I put it out there, the criticism is going to be sharp. Yeah, it's been sharp for me. I've grown from it, though. I've grown so many ways from the criticism. Bad, very embarrassing criticism. This is a terrible book. A lot of malarkey. It's been said where I'm saying, giving you the PG version. I'm happy. I have an opportunity to grow in the conflict, in the poor reviews, in the honest feedback. Do I feel disgraced? No. I feel proud that I did it, and good and better after each rendition or go around. There's been some people that feel very strongly about 30 Days of Thought. Some have said it's changed their life. Some have gotten great value from some of the specific excerpts around leadership, around culture, around selling, because they're in there. They're in this book. But what could be our outcome if the latter held true, the disgrace? Well, I could feel shame, but I could also be courageous and look for the solution. What can I learn from this criticism? That takes courage, humility. I'm not perfect, and I can be better. So these false evidences appearing as real as the pen we hold through our thought creations. And as the pen's ink fades into our parchment, we realize our fate was made prior to our beginning. I don't know. If you're going to write, you're going to write. If it's in you, then maybe this woke you up, or maybe this was already destined to wake you up. But if you're going to write, you're going to write. If you're a writer, you write. If you're a thinker, you write. And at the end, who may I have touched? Am I accepted? At our life's moment, last breath, we wanted, well, all we wanted was always so clear. And we will be content if we write. I challenge you to write. And I'll see you next time on the Culture Matters podcast. Please share this. Please leave a review of the Culture Matters podcast. And keep reading to think, writing to develop, listening to hear what is unsaid, and speaking to let go. 30 days of thought.